Hey, what's going on guys? It's Mark back in the workshop on Mark's Aquatics for another episode on the little budget shrimp tank that we made not so long back now, a few weeks back. It's doing really well at the moment. Everything's growing in nicely. All the plants that we put down into that sand base, that riverbed sand that we got from down by the river there, is taken really well. All the suswasser tang is growing nicely as well over the top. That Ricky is starting to take off as well. And we've had a lot of babies hatching out in amongst the tank now. And I'll get closer in a minute and we'll have a look, because they're really small. Now, if you've been following this and you've done this yourself, you're going to be needing some of that stuff, okay? Gen Chem polytase. Now, it's very important because there's lots and lots of babies in here now, and this has got all the little enzymes and things in them which they're going to need when they first hatch, okay? Now, if we get in closer to the sponge filter there, if it'll focus on the sponge filter, you'll start to see little tiny babies. A lot of that is bits of droppings as well, and there's some water fleas in amongst it, but you can see the little baby ones there. When this silly camera will focus. There you go. There's another one there that's about to drop, I think. She's got a load of berries still underneath, but that's what they tend to do. You can see there's about 3 or 4 on there as well, so we can come up into the plants, and if you look very closely, you may start to see little tiny shrimps if you look around everywhere there. You can see some water fleas. I'll try and centralize that right in the middle of the screen there now. You can see one of the babies there feeding away happily. But that Gen Chem is a very fine powdered food, and it goes in very like a milky substance, all of it, you know, really very churned up in the water, and it just floats throughout the water. I'll put some in at the end of the video, and you can see how it disperses around the tank and what it actually looks like. Nice mummy shrimp there. All that little precious cargo underneath, look at that. And you can see the little black eyes are just appearing in those eggs, and that means we're only days away, if not hours away, from those little guys hatching. Look at that, tugging away on the branches. Now, what I tend to do as well, guys, is not clean the glass. There's a lot of little ram's horn snails in here, and what they tend to do is obviously clean up all around the place very thoroughly. But as you can see on the glass, we've got little bits of algae growing. Now, I tend to leave those on about a week before. It's normally around 25 days before your babies are going to hatch, okay? I always work it out around, they have 25 eggs and they take about 25 days to hatch, or thereabouts, okay? So that's where I go. Now, you can see there's a bit of algae on the glass. Now, I leave that there because it gives those babies something to tug away on as well and clean up. And those being smaller, the bigger ones tend to stick to the substrate more on the leaves and on the stones as well. But there's a little tiny one on the glass there. You can see him there, look. Look at that little tiny little fella there, having a rest, but he's going to eat away all that algae on the glass as well. We've got a few more little babies up here. It's funny when you get up close with this with the macro-y type lens on this camera that I use, it just gives you a completely different world and look of what's going on. It's absolutely fantastic. Little micro world. Got all the little leopard ram's horn snails creeping around on the bottom, keeping everything nice and clean. They're an amazing little addition to any shrimp tank. I always like to put them in a shrimp tank. You can always thin them out quite easily. Put a bit of cucumber in there, tie it to a bit of catgut or something, drop it down, they'll cover it in no time at all. Then just lift them out or net them out with the cucumber and clean some out. Give them away, take them down your fish shop, whatever you like to do with them. There's another little shrimp right down there in the middle of the screen. Look. But everything, oh, there's a couple there. That's the trouble, is once these things start hatching and start swimming around there, it just seems to be no end of them. Now, another thing that I do, and I like to do, now I think I've got around 20 shrimp in here. I think the original stocking level But what I like to do is I like to take some of the adults out now. Now if you want to start another tank off, okay, take some of these adult shrimps out, because as soon as they drop them berries, they're going to shed their shells, they're going to breed again, they're going to start that little cycle all over again. And what I tend to do is this tank then, you can take some of the adults out, like I say, you can split them up, start a new colony off, which is what I tend to do. And then from there, I'll leave all the babies grow up in this tank. And you'll be surprised, because you'll probably have over 100, maybe 200, if you're lucky, babies flying around in here in no time at all, because you won't see them. But after a couple of sheds, they start, and you just see this little carpet of yellow appearing in your tank, and it's really exciting. Now this is quite a light substrate in here, because it's the river sand. But if I was going to be setting up a yellow sakura tank again for the older ones, I would probably use a darker substrate, because that dark, as you can see on the sponge filter there, it really does make those shrimps pop. So a darker substrate's a lot better and shows them up a lot more. So that's what I tend to do, because I find you'll normally get to a stage where you'll overpopulate your tank, and they get to a certain stage. Here you go, there you can see now how many are on that stone, if you can count them all. They start to appear everywhere. There's little water fleas as well, look at those guys. They will just appear everywhere. So thinning them out does your tank a good favour. Otherwise you can overpopulate things, and they tend to slow down breeding then. But let those young ones grow up, transfer those guys, the bigger ones, into another tank, and you'll have 2 colonies then. Or you can take some back to the shops, you can get some credit on those. You can maybe swap them for a different colour near Caridina, and start up another colony of, say, velvets, blue velvets, or pumpkins, all different types there is anyway. So you can go and pick whatever colour you like, and obviously the cherries as well, prolific breeders like these guys. But you just need those conditions to be right, and follow this little video along, and you'll not go wrong. Don't forget to put the leaves in there as well. I've got a big Indian almond leaf in there, and that's going to slowly break down over time, and it's going to feed those little guys as well, because they're going to be tugging away on that. Being omnivorous, they'll eat anything that you put in there, so they're just going to go to town on that as it breaks down. They'll ingest that, it's very good for them. And it'll keep everything nice and healthy. Now, as I've said, guys, what happens is with the Gen Chem polytase, when you put that into the water, it clouds the water up quite nastily. But then what we tend to do is put that in of an evening time, okay? Just before we put the lights off, or the lights automatically go off, we'll put that in. Now what I'll do is I'll mix a little bit up for you now, and I'll show you how we put it in. Right, okay, there's the stuff. I've just put some in a lid there. That's 1 scoopful, and I've got like a little pipette thing there, which I'm just going to tip it into, or mix the container altogether. There you go. And all this one-handed stuff's good fun. Anyway, put the lid on, and then give that a really good shake up. I'll let you have another look at these guys while I shake this stuff up. And you've got to make sure it's really broken up into the water column. Obviously use tank water for this, guys. Just take a little bit of your tank water out and add it to the Gen Chem, okay? Right, you might see the lights playing around a little bit now, so I'm just going to slowly move that forwards. Unscrew that top, and then I'm going to go over the back, and I'm just going to put it into the flow, okay? And I like to try and put this in nice and slowly. Here we go. As you can see, it just goes in like a little cloud. Try and put it in line with the pump. Right, okay guys, what I've done is I've let it just disperse through a little bit. Now it's only been about probably 10 minutes. Posty came, so I've just been to see him, signed for a couple of things. But as you can see, within that sort of 10 minutes, it's dispersed quite nicely around the tank, all over the substrate on the bottom. All the shrimp have come out from the trees, and they're all happily feeding away. Now all those little babies now are going to be ingesting all those little enzymes and all that nice bacillus and lipase and amylase and all that kind of great stuff. And that'll get their little gut cultures fired up and raring to go. Now there's no end of little baby shrimp in here, and there's still lots of buried females, as you can see there. That girl swimming off there, still to release them. So that's what I say. So when you think about it, they're going to have around 20 to 25 on a good healthy stock of berries under each one, like that girl there. Most of them are as full up as that one is there. If it'll clear, see her a little bit clearer. But once they all hatch, you could end up literally with a couple of hundred babies in your tank. And if you've watched some of my shrimp explosion videos with the cherries once before, now I'll show you them on another video, but they've gone absolutely mad since I've taken the betta fry out and put them in the bench tank. So but there's absolutely hundreds of them in there now, because there's nothing predating on them. The betta were cleaning up the baby shrimplets as soon as they were being born. So but when there's nothing to predate on them, they absolutely go bananas. And if you keep feeding this, I feed this stuff once a week, but as you can see, it clears up quite nicely, and we'll end up with lots of little healthy little shrimplets as well. And when you do feed this stuff, guys, don't feed them any other foods. I tend to just feed them this. And also another good thing to remember as well is don't feed them any other different type of enzyme as well. Like we've got the biozyme as well. You've got bacteria and different things like that. If you're going to feed these supplement feeds, it's imperative you don't feed them at the same time, because some of the bacteria and the enzymes and things will actually work against each other. So it's best not to feed them. Feed one week and one the next week and one the following week, so you're keeping different strains going in, and it's keeping everybody nice and healthy and fit and ready to go. That's a nice scratch on my glass there. It's lovely to see all the babies, it really is. And within another couple of weeks now, all these little babies will shed their shells. Like I said, they're quite transparent when they're born, but then after that stage they go yellow, and you'll just see literally a carpet of yellow. There's a little tiny guy there right in the middle of the screen again. There he is. There they are. You just start seeing them, they just start appearing everywhere. But it's really looking healthy, that little tank, really coming along well. And like I say, it's a perfect little system. If you're in your dorms, if you're at college, if you're allowed a little tank in your room, you can set one of these guys up very easy with a sponge filter. Just follow along with what I did and cycle it through with a bit of dead shrimp or something, or a bit of cooked prawn or shrimp. Let that start, and then you can stock it all up, no time at all. You can keep it as cheap as possible, and you'll end up with a beautiful little thriving shrimp tank like that. And you can sit down for hours watching them whizzing around. It's absolutely marvellous. Anyway guys, I hope you like that little, there's a bit of a short update today. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're following this along. Hope you're trying it out. And as always, you're all stars. Love you loads. Take care, and I'll see you on the next episode of Mark's Aquatics. Bye for now. Bye for now.
Just me and my guitar.